we're all mourning the passing of Phil Donahue here at Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, sightsoundsflavors.com. Phil was just one of those guys, I've watched his shows so many times on TV, and, I think that him and Oprah were just, iconic. Montel Williams, Dr. Phil. I mean, Phil Donahue, he's in that category, Ricky Lake, Morton Downey Jr., Dick Cavett, those people. To me, Jerry Springer, I mean, Geraldo Rivera, to me, Phil Donahue just, one of the best Phil Donahue episodes that I saw was when Peter Criss was being impersonated by a drunk homeless man on the Santa Monica Pier, and everybody in the country thought that Peter, the Catman, the singer of Beth, was actually homeless and destitute, living under a bridge. And, Phil Donahue, he just did a phenomenal job. Then he also interviewed Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, and actually a clip from the Phil Donahue show made it to Portrait of an American Family, or was it Lunchbox? I forget which one of the albums, but you can actually hear Phil Donahue on a Marilyn Manson record. And, he was just one of these guys that was ahead of his time. Talk shows nowadays, I don't know if they're still a thing. I don't think people tune into them because, we've got the internet and the World Wide Web, and, we have sort of this, like, the shock value now. But back in those days, the 80s, 90s, guys like Phil Donahue, they were real stalwarts, they were real innovators, they were setting the trend. And, later on, he did other things as well, but I just think that his talk show was just so good. But it wasn't like in the Jerry Springer category necessarily, because I feel that it was real. I feel that he was, addressing some pretty serious topics, and he had some pretty good shows. He had some good producers, and he had a big major network behind him. So I think that he was able to do a lot with the time allotment that he had. But, nowadays, I don't know if there is a market for talk shows. I don't know that people would really, tune into them the way that we used to. But I feel that Phil Donahue was I would say a cut above the Jerry Springers. I would say that he was a little bit more credible. I think that he brought more professionalism to his program. And like I said, with what he did with the Peter Criss one, which I think was probably, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I would probably say more late 80s. It was a very, very good show that he did. He had Tom Arnold on there, former husband of Roseanne. So it was a very, very well done thing. I mean, I still remember it, and I must have seen that 25, 30 years ago. So again, I think that his passing was very much untimely. Fans all around the world, Rhode Island, Colombia, Mauritania, I mean, just all over the world are mourning the passing of Phil Donahue. And I know that I am, and I'm sure that you are as well. But I got to tell you, I mean, we've lost Richard Simmons, now we've lost Phil Donahue. I mean, when's it going to end? I don't know. In any event, guys, we will always remember him. And I know that I will, and I know that you will. So let's keep his memory alive. Thank you.